In this video, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about Microsoft OneDrive, from setting it up for the first time to using it like a pro. Whether you're brand new to OneDrive or you've been using it but feel like you're only scratching the surface, this course is for you. We're going to cover the basics of what is OneDrive, how to install it, and how the interface works. Then we'll get into the real day-to-day stuff, uploading files, sharing, version history, and the personal vault, searching photos, and the mobile app. And in the second half, we'll get into Copilot and the AI features built right into OneDrive that can summarize documents, compare files, and even create AI agents that work across your whole project. I'm Jamie, and welcome to Teachers Tech. I'll be working from a work account for most of this video, since that's where most of you will be using OneDrive day to day, but I'll also switch over to a personal account to show you features like personal vault and photo management, and I'll point out the differences as we go. So let's start with the basics. What actually is OneDrive? OneDrive is your personal cloud storage from Microsoft, just like Google Drive is for Google. Think of it as your space in the cloud where all your files, your documents, your photos, spreadsheets, presentations are stored. They're backed up and accessible from any device, your laptop, your phone, a browser, or even someone else's computer. If it's in OneDrive, you can get it. Now, if you've heard of SharePoint, you might be wondering what the difference is. OneDrive is your personal space, so these are your files, your drafts, your stuff. SharePoint is the shared team space, the official documents your whole team accesses. OneDrive is your filing cabinet. SharePoint is the shared one in the office. And the big thing that OneDrive does is sync. Any file you put in OneDrive automatically syncs across all your devices. If you change something on your laptop, it updates on your phone. Save a file from the web, it appears in File Explorer. One file, everywhere, always up to date. All right, let's make sure you're set up. I mentioned briefly about SharePoint there. If you want to learn more about SharePoint and you're in a work environment, I'll put a link to my full course on that as well down below in the description and up above in the card. Before we do anything else, you need to know if you have a Microsoft account, because that is what OneDrive is tied to. And you can get to your OneDrive a few different ways. You can come here to account.microsoft.com and sign in. This way will show your subscription status and what you have available to you. If you're at a company or school, your IT department probably already set you up an account. If you're on personal, you can click here. And you can see you have the option to create an account right here from this link. Just click create one and follow the steps. Here I am logged into my Microsoft 365 Copilot. I'm in my work account here. If I go down to the bottom, you'll see that I have apps. I'm just going to click on this and you can see all the different Microsoft apps that are available to me. I have OneDrive right here. I'm just going to go ahead and click on this, and this brings me to OneDrive. I'm under the Home tab here. Now, I want to point out, once you're here, you can quickly manage. If you go up here to the app launcher, if you want to jump from any of the Microsoft apps that you have access to, you can just go up to the app launcher and just simply click on any of them. But for this tutorial, we'll be inside OneDrive. So what I'm showing you right now is the web version of Microsoft OneDrive. I'm just logged into a browser using my Microsoft account. But if you're on Windows 10 or 11, it's good news. OneDrive, it's already installed. It comes built into the operating system. So if I go into the Start menu and I just do a search for OneDrive, you can see here it is here. Now I've already signed in to my OneDrive, so it's going to come up in File Explorer. You can see here's my OneDrive, and this content over here will match this content over here. What you're seeing here is the web version of Microsoft OneDrive. I have Microsoft Edge open, the browser, and I'm logged into my Microsoft account. I could use other browsers like Google Chrome and log in as well. I'm just like using Microsoft Edge when I'm using the Microsoft products here. Now, if you're on Windows 10 or 11, good news, OneDrive is already installed. It comes built into the operating system. So if I go down and I'm going to click on my Start menu and I'm just going to start typing OneDrive, you can see here's the app right here. Now, I'm already set up with my OneDrive on my computer, but if you haven't set this up, the setup will ask you where you want your OneDrive folder on your computer. The default location is fine for most people. You can edit this after. You just click through the wizard, and once it's done, you'll see what the OneDrive icon is in your system tray right down over here. Now, if I go ahead and click on this, you can see we have the OneDrive right here. And everything from here syncs with here, everything from here syncs with here. So they're just going back and forth, and we'll get into syncing a little bit later. If I just minimize this, I just want to point out, if I go and open up this down below, it will show you some settings here that you can adjust. So if I click on the settings, I can even add more than one account. So I could add a personal account. Right now I'm in a work account, but you could have more than one account and be syncing files across by just clicking here. Now, for some reason, if you don't have it on your computer, how can you get it? There's a few different ways. I like to go just up to the settings. If I'm logged into OneDrive, you can see right here, get the OneDrive apps. So if I click on it, you can go right to here and download for OneDrive. Like I said, it should be built into your operating system for Windows 10 or 11. I'm using 11 here, but for some reason, if it's not, go ahead and download this. If you're on a Mac, this will work very similar. You can download this on the Mac, and it should default if you log in the same way that I just showed you. So if I click on download the app, here's a quick QR code that you could scan with your phone that will take you over to get the app installed on your mobile device. You could also just go to this store, whatever device you're using. You can download it for iOS or download it for Android. Let's take a proper tour of the web interface, because this is where you'll do a lot of your file management. On the left here, you'll see you have the main navigation. Let me walk you through each one of these. You have My Files. This is the home base. All your personal files and folders, this is your space. Shared. This shows you everything that's been shared with you by other people and everything you've shared with other people. Super useful for finding that document someone sent you last week. Your favorites. These are quick ones that you've starred so you can get back to them quickly without having to search for any. We have our recycle bin. Deleted files end up here. We'll cover this in detail later, but just to know that nothing is permanently gone right away. You've got a safety net. You can also browse files by people. So this will show the different people that are connected to different files. Since I'm in a work account here, I also have meetings and media. This will look slightly different if you're just using the personal account. Also down here will look different because here I have quick access to SharePoint sites. And remember, I explained SharePoints before as being that team site where everybody can access the information, where it's different than OneDrive. This stuff in your files up here, this is private. This would be a team one where everybody has access. So if I click on the Kronos Tours HQ, where I made a SharePoint about this, all these files here would be shared with the team. Down below, another thing I want to point out is down below here, this will show you how much storage space you have. So with mine, I have 1 terabyte of storage, and I've only used 1% of this at 0.7 gigabytes. Up top in the left, you have some main actions. So if I go ahead and click on create or upload, you can see this is where we can do file uploads, we can do folder uploads, or create a brand new file from scratch with any of these quick clicks here. If I go ahead and create a Word document from here, this will be a web version that we're going to be opening up. A quick way to see all the options that you can do to any folder or file is just to simply right click. So if we right click, we can see where we can share, have access to all of these quick different features. You'll also see beside everything, you'll get these 3 little dots with more actions. This will get you to the same thing as well. And if you click the info icon right down here where we have details, we also have details up here at the top. This shows you the file size, who modified it last, sharing status, and activity history. It's a quick way to see what's going on with any file without opening it. I went back over to my File Explorer here and just taking a look at my OneDrive because I want to just explain the syncing between all these different places that these files can live. So here it is, OneDrive, as I showed you before. Everything in this folder is synced to the cloud. You can work with these files exactly like any other files on your computer, open them, edit them, save them. The difference is that everything here is automatically backed up and available on other devices. So here's an example. I just have this on my desktop here where it says Interactive Dashboard. I can simply drag this over. I could go ahead and maybe even create a brand new folder. So we'll just call this one, we'll add a couple zeros so it's right up top, and we'll call this one Demo. I'm going to take this PowerPoint that's right here on the outside, drag it into demo. And if you're on the Mac, it's the same idea. OneDrive appears in your Finder sidebar. You can just drag and drop things into it and everything will sync. If I jump back over to the web version now, look at this. We have demo 00. If I click in it, here's the PowerPoint that I put into it. If I go back to my files and move down, here's the file that I just dragged into it. If I open up something here, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a few quick changes. We'll make this red. Let's bold everything and we'll make this a little bit larger. I'm going to close out of it. And let's go back over here. And now I'm just going to open up interactive dashboards from here. And you're going to see it opens up inside Microsoft Excel, the app, and those same updates that I did online show up over here. And now I open up my app on my phone, an iPhone, and you can see everything's there as well. There's that demo folder if I go ahead and look into it. But if I'm on my app right here, and I'm just going to go to delete and delete, and you're going to see it get updated as things get removed. So this got changed in the background in live time. If I move this out of the way now, you can see over here, sometimes you have to give it a second or a refresh. If I refresh it, I'll refresh it one more time, and then it's gone. So everything's synced from my phone, from my computer, through the web. And on both platforms, the OneDrive icon in your system tray or menu bar, and I pointed this out before on the Windows here, this is your control center. If we click on it, you can see your recent activity, your sync status, and remember up top, you can get your settings where I showed you before. Before we talk about managing files, I'm just going to go and change the view. I'm going to go to the extra large icons because I want to point something out here. And these are the little icons here. You can see there's a cloud here, green check mark. I just want to explain what everything means here. So if you do see a green check mark like this Excel Copilot one here, this file is synced and saved both on your device and in the cloud. You're fully backed up. If you see the one like this with the cloud here, the blue cloud icon, this file is in the cloud only. It's not taking up space on your hard drive. You can see it, but if you want to open it, you'll download it on the fly. Now, blue arrows spinning. I don't think I have any in here, but if I go ahead and I'm going to grab this file and just drop it in, you're going to see the blue arrows spinning right there, but then it goes to the green check mark. The blue spinning is just syncing in progress. The file was being uploaded or downloaded right now. If you happen to see a red X or exclamation, there's a sync problem, maybe a conflict, maybe a connectivity issue. We'll touch on troubleshooting this in the settings section. This brings us to one of OneDrive's most useful features, Files on Demand. This lets you choose which files live on your actual hard drive and which ones stay in the cloud only. So why does this matter? If you've got a laptop with limited storage, say 256 gigs, but you have hundreds of gigs of files in OneDrive, you don't want them all downloaded locally. Files on Demand lets you see everything but only download what you actually need. So if I go to this one right here, and you can see this is only on the cloud because we only have the cloud icon right here. I'm going to right click on this and we have this right here. Always keep on this device. This downloads the file and keeps it locally. It'll have that green check mark, great for files you need offline, like if you're about to get on a plane, and free up space. So if I go to this one, right click, we have free up space right here. This removes the local copy, but keeps it safe in the cloud. It switches back to the blue icon. The file is still right there in your folder, but it's not using your hard drive space. When you click it, it's going to download instantly. Let's get some files into our OneDrive and get organized. I'm just going to use a folder that I have some files on from my computer as an example. The fastest way to upload is to drag and drop. You just grab your files from your desktop or a folder and drag them right into the browser window. Over here on the side, I have this folder that has a number of different files in it. I'm just open it up and you can see we have some PDFs, some Word, and some Excel files. Nothing very large. So I can take this now, and if I just click and hold and bring it over, If I let go now, it's going to go inside of this Excel practice file, which I don't want to. So I can find kind of an open space to put it, and I can drop it there. So this will place it at the top level of my files. Now that didn't take very long to upload. If I just move up, I can see it right here. So in Universe. Now, I want to point out this right here, this icon, that means new. So if you ever see this, I always think of these files as almost an excited look with it. That's what that just means. This is a new folder or file that's been placed in your OneDrive. If I click in it, you can see all the different documents that I just uploaded. Now, I drag and drop. I did the whole folder. You can also do individual files as well. The other way to upload is just to go to the create or upload here, and then you can go grab that folder or an individual file, and then you just go navigate to it, and then it will grab it and upload it. Either way, they're now there in the cloud, backed up and syncing to your other devices. You can also create files and folders directly in OneDrive without ever opening a separate app. Now, I'm going to start with creating a folder just because I have a lot of folders and I'm trying to keep organized a little bit. So I'm going to go to create, and we can see we have a folder right here. I'm just going to call this one Operation Jurassic. I'm going to give this a color of purple and hit create. So here we have Operation Jurassic. I'm going to go and click on it, and you can see right now it's empty. Now, if you look up top, you can see we have My Files, which refers to over here, and now we're inside this first folder. I can create more folders inside any folders. If I go to create again, folder, and this time we'll call this Mission Briefings, and we'll make this gray. I'm going to go ahead and click create. Now I have this new folder. If I go inside of this one, follow the breadcrumbs here so you can see we have mission briefings, operation. This is how we can manage to quickly go back to each of these folders. If I need to go to the first one, the first layer, and then I can just look for Operation Jurassic, and you can see how it adjusts. So I've gone through and set up a project folder with some subfolders to keep everything organized. Good folder structure now saves you hours of searching later. I can also create files directly in OneDrive without ever opening a separate app. If I go up top to create or upload, you'll see where I can quickly create a new document, whether it be Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or the other ones listed below. If I simply click on Word, you're going to see that it will open up right away, and it's automatically getting saved in OneDrive by autosave. I don't have to worry about doing save as. Let's say I wrote up this safety document that needs to be signed in that Word document I just opened, and I just close out of it. Notice it's right here. It automatically got saved. But the first thing I noticed, I didn't name it. I don't want things called just document, because after a while, I'm going to get a lot of these ones just called document 1, document 2, document 3. I didn't mean to close out without saving, and that happens to everybody. So if I need to rename something, I can go to More Actions. We have Rename right here. So rather it be called Document, I'm going to call it Dinosaur Safety Protocol, Cretaceous Period, and Update. And just like that, this is now the new title of that document. Now, the other issue is I don't want this file right here. I created these other folders for a reason, to make sure I stay organized. The reason it was created here is when I went up to create that document, since I was right here, that's where it gets created. Now, to simply move it, I can grab it, click and hold on my mouse, and drag it. Notice as the other folders turn blue. If I want this in safety protocols, I can just drop it, and then it's going to get moved from this spot over to safety protocols. Now, when I look there, it's inside here. It's very easy to move. Here's the other tip. You can actually drag it up back a level. So if I drop it on Operation Jurassic and then go back to Operation Jurassic, there it is again. Another way you can move this is to go to the More Actions. So if I go to More Actions, and then I'm going to go to Move To. I want to point out, Copy To will make a copy of this document. So it will create a copy and it will put that copy in a different place. Move To will take the actual file and move it. So we'll go to Move To, And this allows you to pick where you want it to go, even if it was going to go back to my files, but I'll just put in safety protocol again and hit move to. If you want easy access to any of these documents, you can just go ahead and favorite here. As soon as you put the star, you've got the shortcut to over here to favorites. Here we have it right now. So if you know there's going to be a document that you're going to be working lots on, go ahead and add that star and you can quickly find it that way as well. Sharing is one of the most important things you'll do in OneDrive, and it's where a lot of people accidentally overshare or undershare. Let me show you how to do it right. When you hover over any file, you're going to see that we have a share right here. Now, there's a few other ways you can get to the share. If I click on the more actions, you're going to see share here. And the other place, when I select here, you'll see that up top we get this bar open. We have share. All these shares are going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to click on this one right here. So the first option is going to be to add a name right here. So I'm going to start typing Ashton's name and add him to it. So this is going to send the file directly to that person. It's the most secure option because only the people you specify get access. Now here's the critical part, permissions. And I'm going to drop down right here. You can choose can edit or can view. Can edit means they can change the file. Great for collaboration. Can view means they can look at the file but not alter anything. Perfect for things like final reports, budgets you don't want to be touched, or policy documents. Think about it this way. If someone needs to work on the document with you, give them can edit access. If they just need to reference it, give them view only. When in doubt, start with view. You can always upgrade later. There's a couple other options here. We have can review. So in this case, they can suggest changes. So they can look over the document and they can suggest changes without making actually any changes. And we also have can't download. They can view it, but they can't download. The other option that we have is copy link. This creates a shareable link you can paste into an email, chat, or whatever. Here we have our link settings, and you can see share with anyone, doesn't require sign-in. People within the organization, only people with existing access, or people I choose. We have a few more settings here as well. Do we want them to have the can edit, can review, view, or can't download? We even have an expiration date or a password. Once you go through and set what you want, you can go copy the link at this point and then paste it into an email or a chat, and they'll have direct access to that. If I go over to an email right now, let's say I'm going to send it to Kathy, I paste it in the body, then I can send it off to Kathy. She can click on this link and open it up. Now, this is where you have to be careful with what permissions you had, because if you only want her to see it and you had it to anyone to see, if she passes this link to anyone else, they'll be able to see it too. So just make sure you have those permissions set correctly. You can share entire folders as well. But be careful, because if you share at the top level of this folder, everything in it will inherit how you share it. So in this case here, if I go to share, and I'm going to put Ashton's name in here, and we'll give him can edit, and we'll hit send. So take a look now with this. If I go inside this, I can see all of these are shared. They weren't shared before, but since I shared the top level folder, it all goes down to anything inside of it. And you should always know who has access to what. So if we go to more actions, manage access on any file or folder, and you'll see everyone who has access and at what level. If someone no longer needs access, they left the project, they changed roles, you can revoke it right here immediately. It's good security hygiene. So if I go to Ashton, I can drop down, I can change it right here, or give him no direct access and remove. File version history. This is one of those features that you don't think about until you desperately need it. OneDrive automatically saves versions of your files every time they're edited. So let's take a look at this file right here. I'm going to open it up, and let's say we go through it and we notice and say, hey, wait a second, section 2, there's a missing thing. It goes from 2.1 to 2.3, and I know I wrote a 2.2 in there. So I'm just going to close out of here, And I'm going to use the version history. So I go to more actions. We have version history right here. Make sure you're closed out of the document if you're trying to go back, or else it will just stop you from doing that. So if I go now to here, I can see Ashton did something, made a change right here, and I can see it dropped in size. So if I go back here, I can open this file or restore. So if I click on restore, notice there's a new copy here. So I can go now at this point, if I go and open file, and let's check what has happened here. I have that 2.2 added back to it. So version history can really save you when you least expect it. As your OneDrive fills up with files and folders, you need a fast way to find things. The search bar is going to be your best friend. Click in the search bar. So if you click in it and start typing something, I'm going to type safe. You can see right away, even though it's not the complete word that I have, it found it from within safety. So I can look at any of these documents and see how they're connected. Now, if we move over here and drop down, you can be looking at my files, all files, or whole organization. So depending on where you know that this file might be, might help your search. Now, the other thing is this magnifying glass here. And I can also click the bottom, show more results. It's going to do the same thing. When I click on it, it gives me some ways to filter this so I can really drill down to find exactly what I'm looking for if I have just know a couple things. So maybe I know the date, the name like this, and the dates. So I can look at, was it today, was it in the last 3 months, or in the last year? So then it's going to look through when I created this file or last used it. We can also filter by these different things over here. So if we can filter by folders, if I know it's a Word document, if I click on Word document, it's going to show me all the things with safe, since this is still in the search one up here, and all Word documents. If I was looking in Excel, it's going to show me only the Excel documents. So if you knew you're looking for a Word document at a certain date with a certain word, you can start filtering through this way. If I go back to all, it puts it all back in. The other thing I want to point out with this is if I go back, and I'll just get rid of this, and I'm going to put in this word, Velociraptor. Now, Velociraptor, notice 3 of these documents came up, and I could hit show more results. But what I want to point out here is that these documents, notice in the title, Velociraptor isn't there anywhere. So how is it doing that? Well, it's actually reading the file. It just doesn't read the heading. It reads the entire file. So if I click on this one and open up this document, and let's move down a little bit. Well, there it is right here, Velociraptor. So that search went into the file to find it. So even if you don't know the title, but you know what the document was about or what's within it, you can search that way and it will pull it up. I want to bring your attention to this, the media in the Browse Files By. What this enables you to do is it pulls out all the images from your OneDrive and places them into this clean timeline. So you're able to search through this way. You'll see there's a few different layouts that you can use, and you can toggle compact view and even zoom up on the images, but it's a nice way to scan through all the images that are in your OneDrive. The other thing I just want to point out, I'll be going through the personal OneDrive in a moment, and you're going to see a few more options that you get when working with photos. I've just switched over to my personal Microsoft OneDrive account, which is a little bit different, as I mentioned before. And one of the features that's different in the personal one, you have a personal vault. So if I'm in my files, we have personal vault. This isn't in the work account that I was working from before. So this is a special feature. It's a protected area inside your OneDrive that requires extra identity verification to access it. Think of it as a safe inside your filing cabinet. You see it right here in OneDrive. It's got the lock icon on it. When you click it, it asks to verify your identity. You'll need to verify it through a second factor, a code sent to your phone, your authenticator app, your fingerprint, whatever you've set it up. This extra layer of security means that even if someone gets your Microsoft account, they still can't access your personal vault without that second verification. So what do you store here? This is perfect for those sensitive documents, passport scans, tax returns, insurance documents, contracts, anything with personal information you want extra protection on. The personal vault also auto-locks after a period of inactivity. On the web, it locks about after 20 minutes. On mobile, it locks after about 3 minutes. So even if you walk away from the computer, it protects itself. You can also manually lock it at any time by just clicking the lock button up here. One click and it's sealed again. On a free OneDrive account, you can only store up to 3 files in the vault. With a Microsoft 365 subscription, there's no limit. You can put as many files as you want in here. In your personal Microsoft OneDrive account, it's just not for documents. It's a great place for your photos, and Microsoft has built some nice features specifically for managing them. If you toggle over to Photos up top, and I am in my personal account for this one, you won't find this in the work account, you get a dedicated view of all the images stored in your OneDrive. It pulls from every folder and shows them in a clean timeline view. You see you have some options up top to filter, to change the layout that you want. You can either zoom in or zoom out. OneDrive will automatically create albums based on events and dates. You'll also see up top we have moments where you can add photos here to create those special times. They can go ahead and create albums of those best moments. Faces can be recognized in the photos to help group the different images of people that you have. And then you can also have your favorites. And here's a pro tip for you. If you turn on camera upload in the OneDrive mobile app, every photo you take on your phone automatically backs up to OneDrive. So if I hit the plus, you'll see capture is there. We have all these different options. I can move over to photo. And if I take a picture and hit finish, that is going to go upload it to my files. You can see you can choose where you want it to go, and the name of it's going to be just called scan. I can rename it right now or rename it later, but hit save. This will automatically get put into your OneDrive across all your different devices. And there it is at the bottom right here, that picture I just took. OneDrive also uses AI to tag your photos, so you can search for things like beach or dog or presentation, and it will find the matching images even if you've never tagged them yourself. Let's run through the OneDrive settings you should know about. I'll cover both the desktop client settings and the web settings. I'm going to go down and just go to my system tray and open up the settings like I showed you before right here. Now, the first thing I want to point out, you can quickly look here how much storage you're using. You can do a little manage storing. This will open up a tab online. So what this shows you here is you could go through your OneDrive setting. This is going to show your largest files. So you could go through and delete them if you don't need them anymore. And then you could also go to your recycle bin and clean that out as well. So check that out if you're having any storage issues. The next thing I want to point out is this right here under the account, the choose folder option. So this choose the folder option, these are going to be the files from my OneDrive that are going to be downloaded to my computer. And right now you can see all the different folders are checked off. And so these are all on my computer as well. Now, if I don't want to make them all available, I could just, you can see check one at a time or click this and then select the ones that I want. So it's definitely an important thing to do for managing your files. I'm just going to hit OK and go to the sync and backup and just look at the manage backup here. And you have the option to back up all of these. Right now, you can see I have them actually all toggled off. So if I toggle them on, it means anything saved to my desktop or document folders or photo will automatically be backed up to the cloud. If your computer dies, your files are safe. You can also adjust your upload and download bandwidth limits if OneDrive syncing is slowing down your internet. So if you go to the advanced settings, you'll see them right here. If you drop down one more level, you'll see where you can adjust them too. If you move over to notifications, you can see you have a couple options to see what you get notified on. A few settings to take a look at when you're using OneDrive on the web would be going up here, and you can restore your OneDrive from here as well. So if you click on this, you'll notice that if something went wrong, you can restore your OneDrive to a previous time. You just drop down, pick the date, and then restore. And here's a list of different email notifications that you can customize whether you want to be notified every time one of these things happens. Let's switch to the phone. The OneDrive mobile app is more powerful than most people realize. When you open the app, you'll see a familiar file structure. Everything that's in your OneDrive on the web and desktop is right here. You can go ahead and browse your documents, view PDFs, you can create new folders, you can upload photos and share files, all the same actions as the web right here on your phone. One of the most useful mobile features is marking files for offline access. If you know you're going to be somewhere without internet, on a flight, in a remote location, you can download specific files to your phone ahead of time. Let's go to our in-universe project files. Look at those three little dots. Usually that's the more actions. If I look at that, we have things like we've seen already: share, move, delete, details. But look at the very bottom. We have make available offline. I'm just going to go ahead and toggle that on. Now that file is on your phone regardless of connectivity, and you can use the offline filter at the top to see your offline files in place. So if we just move over to the very end, I can see offline right there, and I click it, it will bring me to the exact files that I've selected that I can look at. This is especially helpful if you know you're going to be out of Wi-Fi or data coverage, especially on a plane. To get to your settings on your mobile app, just hit that little briefcase in the top left-hand corner. When you click on that, you'll notice that you have your accounts you can pick, whether it be personal or work. I'm going to go to settings here, and you can go and add accounts, log out of accounts, and you can look at the different settings you can adjust for your phone here. Did you know you could use the OneDrive app to scan documents into PDF? So this alone, this feature makes the OneDrive app worth installing. You can use your phone camera as a document scanner. Let me show you how this works. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the plus. Back to where we were before, hit the capture. This time, I'm just going to leave it on document. And I know it's not the perfect picture right here as I'm giving it a shadow, but I'm just going to hover over it and the corners are kind of in line with the paper. I'm going to hit just the take picture. At this point, you can notice that I can skew. If it was off, I can bring these in. I can straighten things up. Now, if I have multiple pages though, you can look, there's a plus right next to the other one. I'm going to hit the plus and I'm going to hover over another document and I'm going to take another picture here. So what's happening now is I could do the corners again. I could go through all of this, but I'm going to go and review and edit. Notice that we have a few other options on the side. I can mark this up. I can crop this if I wanted to maybe draw attention to something, and then I can hit the check mark. And if I'm all done, I can hit finished. I could even reorder the pages if I want, but I'm going to hit finish for this one. Where do I want it? Well, you know what? I'm going to go to in-universe project files, but I could also go to files and find any file that I want to put it in, but we'll just use this one and I'm going to go ahead and hit save. So this is going to save it as a PDF with those images in it. Let's go check it out on my phone and then we'll check it out on my computer as well. So I can see the scan from 2026. I'm going to open it up and here it is right here with the markup and everything on it. And notice that this is a PDF, this one. I just moved back to my computer. I can see the scan file right here, PDF. I can click on it and this will open it up. We have multiple pages here. Here's the markup. So just from the app, you can use it as a scanner right to your OneDrive. Here's another mobile feature that's really handy. You can mark up PDFs and images directly in the OneDrive app. Let's open up this top one here, the client liability waiver. I'm going to click on it and you'll notice at the very bottom, we have annotation. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Notice now we have some different ways we can either highlight or maybe even if we want to sign something. So if I see something important in here, maybe I go to my highlighter and I start highlighting through it and then click done. When I have it done, I need to quickly maybe add my signature to something. So I can go ahead and click on annotation again. I'm just going to use this black pen this time and I can sign my name as I want. It would be probably a little easier if I had it in the other way rather than the portrait if I had it in the landscape. But I'm going to go ahead and hit done. You'll notice when you hit annotation, you do get some things on the top. We can go ahead and hit the T We can tap anywhere to add our annotation. So if I click here, I can write whatever I want in text here as well. And I can do multiple lines and hit done. When you go ahead and save, the markup is added to the file. It's a quick and easy way to review and annotate on the go without needing any separate app. If I close it out, then open it again, you can see all the markup is there. If you have a Copilot license, this is where OneDrive goes from great file storage to something genuinely next level. Copilot is an AI assistant built right into OneDrive that can read, summarize, and analyze your files. Do you see this Copilot icon floating right down here in the bottom right? This is your entry point. It's always there. It's always ready. So if I just click it, it gives you some ideas what it can do. It can summarize a file. It can create an FAQ from a file, ask questions about a file, and what can Copilot do in OneDrive? But I'm here to show you that. So if I go ahead and just click off this for a moment, and if I click on one file, notice now this says 1 here. So this can actually handle up to 5 different files, so I can ask questions about. Notice up top, when I just click the 1, I have Copilot up top here where I can summarize, create an FAQ, create an audio overview. I'll come back to that, ask questions, or even create an agent, and I'll come back to that as well. But if I go and let's say I click multiple ones here, I'll click these 3 Word files, this 1 PDF, and 1 Excel. So now if I go ahead and click on this, I'm going to just choose this first one, summarize these files. I can actually go ahead and ask any question I want, but I want to know these 5 files, what's happening. So about 20 seconds later, I get everything summed up. It shows me file by file. Here's the first one I clicked on. It gives me the purpose, the key rules. Now I can, rather than opening up each file, I can select the different ones. I can go to Copilot and then I can just scan through to see if these are the right files that I'm looking for, or just get a general idea altogether. Now, here's how I like using the Copilot function in Microsoft OneDrive. Let's say I have 2 different contracts and they're long, and I'm looking for the details to see what's the difference between 2 of them. I don't want to miss anything before I go ahead and sign something. So if I go ahead and select both of these, you can see I have the 2 here selected. I want to compare these files. So when I do this, what I really like is that it's going to create a table that I can look back and forth between the 2 different ones. And then I get this, a direct comparison of the key differences between these 2 files. I can see that the general structure and the sections, but then it allows me just to hone in where is going to be the differences. So right away I can see this one explicitly designates employee as senior marketing manager, adds eligibility to enhanced benefits. So then I can pull out these exact things I'm looking for to feel more confident when I'm going through to double check to helping me use this as an assistant. Now, you really have to see this one. This is just an image right here. I'm going to open it up so you can see what it is first. It's just a napkin sketch. I'm going to show you how AI can pull out information from something like this. Let's just go back. I do have Copilot right here, but I'm going to go back to where I was before. So if I go ahead and just show Copilot actions for this item, look at this. It can explain an image, it can extract the text, analyze the image using file, or I can even ask a question at this point. Let's go ahead and get it to explain the image. So here we go. The image is a hand-drawn diagram on a napkin outlining time travel safety titled Operations Chronos. It goes through the main elements of this. So the visual serves as a quick, memorable guide for anyone involved in Operation Chronos. So even if you were taking some notes on a piece of paper and you needed to throw it into your OneDrive, this can all be analyzed together. You could get information, you could pull text, compare it with other documents that you have, and really get the insights you need. Now, I want to go to my recordings. I have one in here. So let's say I can't remember all the details, or maybe I missed some of it and wasn't paying attention. Notice there's a Copilot feature here too. Look at the action items. We can recap this meeting, generate meeting notes, highlight my mentions. So let's go ahead and just do a quick recap. Now I can go through this quick recap to make sure that I remember all the things that were happening in there. And I can even go further and ask a question. Maybe you're on the go. You're not in a situation where you can read anything. You're driving, and it would be really helpful if you could be listening to what these documents are about. You can do that. So if I go to, let's say, this document, and I'm going to go to Copilot, when I select any individual ones, look at this. I can create an audio overview. I'm going to go ahead and select this. All right, that didn't take very long. I have a 2-minute and 1-second audio file here. I'll hit play. Do notice I can change the playback speed and jump back 15 seconds or jump ahead. Let's hit play.
Welcome. This audio summary presents the Chronotours HQ Dinosaur Safety Protocol for Cretaceous Operations, a key document outlining the essential safety measures for personnel in dinosaur-inhabited.
I'm going to hit pause there. I want you to take a look at this, the more options. You can go ahead to view the transcript. You can go and switch to podcast style. Let's give this a try. Okay, it regenerated. We have one now that's 3 minutes and 1 second. I'm going to hit play, and then we'll jump ahead and hear to see what we hear in this.
Welcome to an overview of the Dinosaur Safety Protocol.
The aim of this protocol is clear. It's to prevent mission failures and...
So now I have the two different voices, more of a podcast sitting there with multiple people, just having that conversation back and forth. So that's going to be the change between the two different options, where the first one was a little bit more of an explainer video and the second style was that podcast. Notice that we can switch back to that summary overview if you want that. If you like what you have, I would save to OneDrive because then you can access it from your mobile device. But just so you know that on your mobile device, you can actually turn these to audio files as well. That's one of the options there. You can just click on your more options and you'll see the exact same thing on your phone. And then you could save it to your phone and then be listening to it to just take in this information if you don't have the time to read. Now, the newest Copilot feature, and honestly, one of the most powerful, OneDrive Agents just launched. So everything so far has been one file at a time. But what if you could have an entire project with 10 or 15 files and you want to ask questions across all of them? That's what agents are for. So you can get to agents a few different ways. You can go to a single file. So if I click on any of these files, you'll notice one of the options is create an agent. I can also go from a certain folder and it will include all the different files inside of it. So if I click on the Copilot here, I can go create an agent. I can also just start one from up top here, create an agent this way. Now I can go ahead and add the files after. What I'm going to do is that for this example is just go to this folder right here and I'm going to create the agent based on the files that are in here. So let's go to Copilot, create an agent. So first thing it's going to ask you is to put a name in. I'm just going to leave it as it is here. You can put a different icon if you wanted to change the image, just click here. I'll give it a brief purpose for here. So provide mission readiness support for Operation Jurassic by answering questions across all project documents, including budget, safety protocols, equipment, checklists, tactical maps, and liability policies. So if I go move over to the next one now to sources, you can see that the sources are already in here. So if I was going to start it from scratch, then I would have to add the sources. But since I started at the folder and all my sources are in there, it's already there. So you can see I can remove from here. If I wanted to go to remove all the contents from the OneDrive, I can do that. So I can add source also if I wanted to go and grab some from some different files. If I go to behavior now, let's go ahead and fill out some of this information. Here's going to be my welcoming message. Welcome to Operation Jurassic Mission Agent. I have access to all the mission documents, including parameters, safety protocols, budget, equipment, checklists, tactical maps, and so on. Let's give it some starter prompts. We'll start with this one. What are the key risks across all mission documents? Then we'll put this one in. List all action items and who owns them. And finally, this one. Summarize the budget changes between version 1 and version 2. Now let's define this agent's role. I'm going to give it some more accurate information. So now you are an Operation Jurassic Mission Analyst. Answer questions by referencing the specific documents provided. When listing action items, include the owner and priority. When discussing risk, reference which document the risk comes from. Keep answers clear and organized. If a question can't be answered from the available file, say so. So I'm going to go ahead and create. Now it's all created. Let's go chat with the agent. All right, so now it opened back in the chat of the Microsoft 365 Copilot. This is where I logged in the beginning, where I went to OneDrive and I went to a OneDrive this way through the app. So this is chat, just like something like ChatGPT or Gemini. I'm going to paste in this question. You can see the agent I'm on is this one that we just created, and I'm going to go ahead and send. Are we ready for the mission? What's still outstanding? And it quickly comes back with mission readiness overview. So everything is going to be based on the files that it's looking through. It has a specific goal that it's going through, and I can get an understanding of what all those files are. So if I'm thinking of a question about all those documents, I can go ahead and ask it. Let's try one more. What's the total mission budget? And it comes back with the information. It's showing me where it's coming from, what document, and it goes through and also says that it can break it down by category if I'd like. So notice when I just click on it again, it comes up with a new chat already. Here were the 3 different suggested prompts that I put in at the beginning. You could go back and edit those. So if I go back here, we can see where we can edit the agent, and you can also share this with other members on the team so they can take advantage of using this agent as well. And that's OneDrive. You've gone from setup to AI-powered agents in one session, and honestly, you know more about OneDrive than most people who use it every day. The biggest takeaway, OneDrive isn't just a place to dump your files. When you organize it well, share it with the right permissions, and layer it in Copilot, it becomes the hub that keeps your whole workflow together. Thanks for watching This Time on Teachers Tech. I'll see you next week with more tech tips and tutorials.